It was big and soft, slightly warm. His handshake was firm, almost crushingly so, and when he released me, my own hand lingered in the residual warmth. "Do you have night vision or something?" I asked.
"I've spent a lot of time in dark rooms."
"Dark rooms or dark rooms?" A short laugh.
"Both."
The lights flickered on. It wasn't until I saw him that I realized I'd been imagining someone completely different. Someone beefier, taller, someone with thick dark hair and an olive complexion. But there he stood, Elijah in all his 5'9", narrow-shouldered glory. Cuffed jeans, flannel shirt, tiny round glasses, sandy hair long enough for him to run his fingers through, which he did at that moment. We blinked at each other. One side of his face curled into a smile.
"Hey,"
he said. He held a stack of photographs in one hand, which he now pressed against his chest. I quickly tightened the band of fabric I'd used to tie my hair back from my face. The fabric matched that of my dress, white, spotted with huge sunflowers. I smoothed the dress, too, and tried to discreetly wipe the sweat from my forehead with the back of my hand. "Hello."
"Do you come here often, Flora?"
His voice was slightly raspy, like he was getting over a cold. He smiled as though he'd caught me mid-transgression, and a twinge of annoyance shot through me. He, not I, was the clear transgressor here. "I'm helping Mr. Greenberg," I said. My words felt heavy and insufficient. "What are you doing here?"
"Just developing some work."
The photos were still pressed against his chest, and I suddenly wondered if they were sexually explicit images of a lover or something. "Your own work?" He nodded, still smiling with half of his face. I pressed my lips together to keep from grinning. "You're allowed to do that here?"
"Not technically."
My heart was racing. We regarded each other. I didn't know what look to give him, so I settled for half-hearted suspicion. His look was pure amusement. "I should—" Instead of finishing the sentence, I gestured to the room at large.
"Have fun."
Here he mimicked my empty gesture, but he was smiling so hard that I smiled back despite myself.
"See you around, Flora."
He nodded once, and then he strode past me and entered the revolving door to exit the darkroom. The air behind him smelled like men's deodorant. It was nothing special, probably the drugstore brand even. But smelling him, smelling the suggestion of a body that moved and sweat and required deodorant, made my cheeks hot. I know, and I promise it gets way worse. If I were Molly Ringwald in a John Hughes movie, I would have slid to the ground with my back against the wall, knees at my chest, a hand clutching my throat, and a dazed expression on my face. But I was more of a take-action type of girl, so I grabbed a set of prints that Mr. Greenberg hadn't asked for and hurried through the door. But by the time I reached the art room, Elijah was gone. I worked for the next few hours in a distracted trance, and when I went home, I organized and reorganized my closet until I was calm enough to slice some strawberries and read Anna Karenina. When school officially started, I scoured the hallways for Elijah, but it wasn't until the end of the first week that we met again. This time, a pair of shoes brought us together. They were sunflower pumps, and they were gorgeous. In hindsight, maybe it was the sunflower print that summoned him. Maybe, like a bee, he'd been drawn to both my floral dress and my floral shoes. The shoes violated the Bowen dress code, which explicitly stated that all students were to wear white and green saddle Oxfords. All offenders were forced into the shoes of shame, a pair of battered, dirt-streaked saddle Oxfords left over from the first Bush administration. As evidenced by my tendency to come to school early to help teachers set up their rooms, I was hardly the rebel type. I wore the offending shoes for no other reason than half-hearted curiosity about whether anyone would say anything. At around noon, Ms. Lorne, my English teacher, apologetically sent me to the head of upper school, Dr. Muamba, an ex-ballerina from the Congo. A slightly embarrassed look on her face, as though she too believed the whole saddle Oxford rule to be ridiculous. Journal entry from that fateful September day. Oh my God.